Florida's two most powerful lawmakers are asked about the millions of taxpayer dollars spent by the DeSantis administration to fly migrants in Texas to Martha's Vineyard. This all happened back in September.
Now their answers had us digging deeper into what role the state legislature plays in overseeing how the governor spends your money. Here's Contact 5 investigator Katie Legrone.
These relocation services.
It happened during two separate meetings with the press late last week.
I have not had a conversation with the governor about the issue.
Florida's two highest-ranking lawmakers respond to questions about the nearly $3.5 million spent by the governor's administration so far to fly migrants in Texas to so-called sanctuary cities in Democratic-leaning states.
I think the governor not only needs to do what he has done, but we as a legislature are going to look for how we can be supportive.
House Speaker Paul Renner and Senate President Kathleen Passidomo, both Republicans, acknowledge they've neither asked the governor about the controversial flights nor plan to.
You know, the governor is trying to protect Florida from the problems that are arising federally.
Both seemingly shrugging off concerns.
He's trying to protect our state, and I support that.
Back in September, the DeSantis administration spent more than $1.5 million to fly nearly 50 migrant men, women, and children by private charter planes to ritzy Martha's Vineyard. But those flights didn't actually meet the guidelines of the $12 million immigrant relocation plan approved by lawmakers. The plan, signed off as part of the state's budget, called to relocate migrants out of Florida, not Texas, where these migrants were recruited.
The cost of illegal immigration far, far exceeds what we appropriated, and I'm prepared this year to appropriate more to make sure the governor has the tools he needs to protect our citizens.
One of the fundamental responsibilities of legislators, and particularly legislative leaders, is to keep an eye on how our tax dollars are being spent.
Florida political analyst Brian Crowley is a former political reporter who spent more than 2 decades covering state politics.
So the legislature does have an oversight role?
Oh, sure. The legislature has an oversight role to make sure that any money that they appropriate is being used appropriately.
Crowley says while there's nothing wrong with the governor and legislature to agree on policies, especially when they're of the same party, when it comes to checks and balances, he says Governor Ron DeSantis has changed the game.
Since he took office, he has been able to pretty much do anything he wants, and they simply say, yes, sir.
To date, the DeSantis flights have spawned a criminal investigation by a Texas sheriff, a money inquiry by the feds, and several lawsuits, including a class action by these migrants who claim they were lied to and misled into boarding the flights. And while Democratic lawmakers have taken the opportunity to voice political outrage,
we should support those who are hungry and tired and seeking freedom.
Florida's most powerful lawmakers are voicing little more than total support.
I support him 100%.
Even leaving any question of crossing the line to the courts to determine.
I understand there's in litigation. Let's see what happens.
A view that perhaps speaks more to power, and in Florida, who seems to currently hold it all.
Governor DeSantis is not shy about using his power. So it's kind of a unique time we have in Florida where this governor is probably the most powerful governor we've had in modern times.
Katie Legrone, WPTV News Channel 5.
Now, the governor's office has defended the flight, stating Florida is not a sanctuary city. His office went on to say that the governor will continue to facilitate a program to assist the transportation of illegal immigrants to sanctuary cities and states around this country.